Art Painter, followed by James Meikle.
Good afternoon, Senator McDonald, Representative Lawler, and members of the committee. I'm here to testify in favor of Senate Bill 394, which aims to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. To set the record straight, I've not used marijuana and don't intend to use marijuana, and as a thoracic surgeon don't see a lot of advantage to putting that kind of stuff in my lungs, so I'm speaking from a slightly different viewpoint. It's a viewpoint that I find disturbing, the way we approach some of our drug laws, and some of the questions that have been asked here this morning, I think, make my point. Our policies as a whole that regard marijuana are peculiar in that we are dealing with a substance here that has never, ever been indicted in a single death in this country. Whereas alcohol, which we control, we regulate the production and distribution and sales of alcohol, kills over 100,000 people every year. Cigarettes and tobacco products, for which we also have regulation and control, kill over 400,000 people every year. Here are some facts, and I think maybe speak to some of the comments that were made earlier today. Marijuana is the most used drug in America. Prescription drugs are the second most used drugs in America. A lawyer for the Drug Enforcement Agency back in 1988 stated that marijuana in its natural form is one of the safest therapeutically active substances known to man. The Institute of Medicine in 1999 recognized that marijuana use is not a gateway drug and shows no evidence at all that it leads to use of harder drugs. It does have some long-term bad effects, and so I'm not advocating marijuana in any way, but it's being used by, as our student from UConn said, a huge number of people every year, recreationally, just like alcohol, just like tobacco, just like caffeine. And it's not dangerous. It's not good, but it's not that dangerous. It's not even addictive. In Hartford, I took the opportunity to looking at our daily arrest logs and analyze the number of arrests that were marijuana related. Marijuana related arrests solely for marijuana represent 23.5% of the arrests. This is a huge waste of money, of police time. I asked the police in Hartford how long it takes to fill out a report. It's an hour and a half. They often end up going down the line into the rest of the judicial process. Yes, they may get diverted from prison. They may get diverted into something that's worthwhile, but that's a lot of money. It's a lot of wasted time sticking out these people and arresting them. In a report from the Department of Justice from 2005, 42.6% of the people who were arrested and were in prison were there. One of the charges was marijuana. So it speaks to somewhat to its commonness. My message is that I hope this is a good first step, although I really wish we were doing more, but I urge passage of this bill.
Thank you very much. In your testimony, you were saying that that marijuana is the most used drug. Was that right?
Yeah, according to
more than alcohol.
More than alcohol.
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't either earlier.
And what was the source of that information?
It was at one of the federal agencies that I believe was ONCDP, but I can't quote that exactly right now.
And just when you say it's the most used, in terms of incidents or number of people or
incidents
measured how?
The amount consumed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there other questions? Representative Hetherington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Does using marijuana by way of smoking, does it have the same health threats as smoking cigarettes does, for example?
Reports from the Institute of Medicine suggest that it's not a lot different. And some reports have said it's less, some reports have said it's no. But it's not good.
Okay.
It has some of the same carcinogens that tobacco smoke does.
Thank you. And another question. I think you raised some very substantial points. One thing that troubles me, and I don't know what the answer might be, I'd like to have your comments. Every possession indicates an unlawful transaction because the marijuana didn't just suddenly appear in your pocket. It must have been an unlawful transaction. If we go at marijuana legalization piecemeal, if you will, don't we really strengthen the unlawful distribution system that's in existence, which seems to me is the real social problem, not the individual occasional user?
Well, Representative Hetherington, that's a good point. I think the real problem is the situation that our present drug policy puts it in. And we talk about, do we send a bad message? I think we're sending a bad message by allowing the criminal element to run the drug trade instead of, for example, marijuana could very easily be slipped into the same system that we use to control nicotine products and alcohol. We have stores set up. Early on, that was the recommendation of the DEA. We've since become concerned about the use of drugs, and rightfully so. So we've become stricter and stricter and stricter. We spend $50 to $70 billion a year as state and federal level interdicting drugs, spraying crops, the police activities, for not a whole lot of good results. But you're right. Piecemeal is hard, but it's very hard, I think, for the public to accept just a vast change of accepting drug use. It seems to give the message that we're soft on drugs, soft on crime, and I think that's not the issue. The issue is we're making terrible mistakes in the way we run our drug policy.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything further? If not, thanks very much.